Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us today. We'll wait for a couple of minutes and then we'll start our webinar. And meanwhile, if you have any questions, you can just post the question in the chat and we'll try to answer at the end of the webinar. All right, so let's get started. So thank you everyone for joining us today. My name is Rizwan Ahmed and I am the Chief Operating Officer at Bitsol Technologies, which is an IT services company based out of US. And we've been in business since more than a decade, helping startups and scale ups. So today I'll be sharing our experiences and lessons learned that uh, we have learned throughout our business. And the important thing is that we have been helping lots of startups, and this is the first-hand experience that we've got, and I'll be sharing that with you. So uh, the agenda for today's webinar is navigating through the common challenges faced by startup founders. So we'll be covering the global startups failure rates. We'll be analyzing, and then we'll be navigating through the common challenges faced by the founders, and we'll also discussing how we can overcome those challenges. So as we know that there are lots of startups that are coming into existence every day. So according to stats, there are more than 100,000 startups that uh, start their journey every day. And there in total, we have 150 million startups across the world. And that is a huge number. So if we analyze the success and the failure of these startups, the research shows that more than 20%, exact to 21.5% to be exact, fail in the very first year when they start their journey. And then as they move on, 30% fail in the next year, and more than 50% of the startups fail until they reach their fifth year. So this is a huge number considering the volume of the startups that we discussed. So uh, we must know the reasons why this happens, and how we can save the time of the startup founders, how we can save the energies of the startup founders by looking into the failure details, by analyzing them, and by not making the same mistakes that other founders have made. So uh, every day we know that everyone there are countless ideas that we come across. There are countless ideas that exist, but the execution and sustainability of these ideas are really challenging. So uh, according to the OpenAI CEO Sam Altman, he says that the great execution is at least 10 times as important and 100 times harder than a great idea. So this shows that because Sam Altman is a successful CEO. We all know OpenAI due to ChatGPT and various other endeavors. So when founders like Sam Altman say that execution, controlling, and scaling and startup is extremely, extremely difficult than we think. So I think we should focus this uh, when we start or working on our startups. So moving on, as I told that there are numerous number of startups that come into existence every day. So we'll be discussing few of the examples of the startups, why they failed, and what they could have done differently in order to succeed. So the one startup that we're going to discuss today is QB. It was a startup which actually raised a numerous funding of $1.8 billion. And they have failed in their very first year. So what went wrong there? Actually, the problem that they tried to find was not unique, or was not the problem which was the right market fit. So why we've listed it as a number one in our list is because, according to research, whenever a startup fails, whenever we work on an idea, we have enthusiasm. Every startup founder thinks that their idea is the best idea. This lacks to the false positives, which where we assume that the problem that we are working is real and has actual market fit. But when the startups face the real challenges, like when they go to the market, when they go to the users, when they go to the public, they face the hard reality that actually the problem that they are trying to solve has been previously solved, or is not a problem which needs public attention, or is not a problem which is to be solved in a way that we are solving. So this is one of the major reason that QB failed, and they have actually neglected the customer needs. It was basically a video streaming platform. It was launched in 2020, and the product lacked innovation. So why they lacked innovation? Because the founders of the problem, the startup thought that they will compete the existing video streaming platforms like Netflix, and they have something different. And they raised quite a lot funding, but when they reach to the public or the users did not find them innovative. And since due to the lack of the quality content as compared to their competitors, uh, they have lost the business. So this was one of the major examples of the failures, despite raising numerous fund. So whenever we have to work on an idea, we have to discover a real or a unique problem. So there are many ways that we can do that. We can focus on the consumer problems. We can conduct market research. We can gather information from the industry, from the competitors, and from the target audience. And here I would like to highlight that we must identify the target audience and the market fit for that audience. So identifying and addressing the most critical pain points of and the desires of the audience can help you succeed your startup. Another thing that the startup founders need to look into is to look into that how their product or their idea is differentiated from the other existing competitors. In the very example that we just looked, we found that the QB actually wanted to solve a problem which many others were trying to solve. So uh, eventually they were targeting the same customers or the same user that were actually using the some other platforms previously, but they could not attract the users to their new platform, or the idea that they've founded. So um, another thing that the founders can do is they can develop MVP, a minimum viable product, and reach out to the public and see how the users respond to their idea. And they can check the response. If the response is good, then we can think that we have some kind of market fit. And in addition to that, uh, we can think more unique ideas, the refinement of the MVPs, and make it step by step transition, and then we can try to achieve the more user base. So uh, the real problem, the more real problem, the more success, the chances of success you have. And if you think that the problem, you think that the problem is unique, but the end users or end customers do not think so, then there is a high risk of failure that you should avoid. So another reason for the startup failure is lack of planning. So what lack of planning means here is that there are different things that a startup has to go through. They have to go through the budget planning. They have to go through the resource planning. They have to plan about their execution, their scale, their product. So this is an important phase where you have to predict the growth of your product. You have to devise a strategic plan that how you are going to scale, how you are going to gather all of the components of your startups, including your team, including the product itself, including the research and innovation. So if you lack planning, then there is also a higher chance in this case that your startup will fail. So there are three main components, like you must have the direction, you must have your resources intact, and you must use your resources with utmost care. And the third and most important thing is your focus on the product or the idea that you're working on. So if you think that you have the money, you have the funds to move your startup to run your startup, but you're not focusing on the idea, you're not focusing how it is being executed, you're not focusing on the customers, you're not focusing on the features or the innovation, then the results would be very dangerous for the startup. So the example that here we're looking is Quirky. It was a very, very good startup and raised $170 million funding. It was a US based and it was launched in 2019. So actually, this startup was the mother of the startups. What they did was their idea was to launch a platform where the founders come and founders enroll, and the founders would have shared their idea or their problem with the Quirky, and then Quirky and their team would try to invent the product out of the ideas, and then they would share, they would market the product, and then they would share the revenue, a chunk of revenue, with the founders or the people who have shared their ideas. So initially, it was very kind of a hot cake for everyone, that everyone who had an idea, they tried to enroll with Quirky, they signed up and they shared their ideas with them. But eventually, what happened that after receiving lots of funds, after raising the funds of around $170 million, they started lacking focus on their own platform. So how did this happen? Because they were trying to invent the things for others. For example, if I have an idea, I have shared them my idea with the Quirky, and their team started from the product design to implementation to development and to the sales uh, on those ideas. So the main team was actually lacking focus, and how it ended that in 2015, probably they have declared the bankruptcy. So this was a huge failure for them, and their CEO resigned, and all that stuff has happened. So if they had planned better, they've not shifted the focus from the actual goals, uh, there were more chances of their success. But even despite being in business for more than 5 years, they've failed. So this tells us that how we should plan our startup, how should we focus on the direction, the actual goals that our startups are meant to solve. So by this we can continue or stick to our ideas that we actually have. So moving on, um, there are some additional items that I'd like to share, that how to define a strategic plan that can serve our startup's roadmap. So first, we should have a vision, mission, and goal setting. So it is very much important for our team that is executing the startup, and as well as our customers, or the people for whom we are solving the problem. If we have a mission, a clear vision, and clear goals, then we would also be focusing on those goals, and our customers or our people would have clarity about our idea and our product. The second thing that comes is we have to define a clear strategy to achieve our goals. So this does not include only the long-term goals or yearly plan. This means that you should have the KPIs, the short-term plans, short-term goals listed, so that you can monitor your success very closely. And you can define the KPIs, you can define the benchmarks for your products, for your idea, and you can analyze that how you are going. Are you aligning with your goals, or are you on a different track? So this would clearly, by analyzing your short term goals, you can very easily gauge your success, that are you on track or not. The next thing is that while defining the strategy, you have to get clarity on the target market, and considering the target market, you have to devise your strategy accordingly. And you have to then prioritize your efforts and resource allocation. The thing that happened with Quirky was that they were not focusing on their idea, but they were focusing on the ideas of the other people, uh, since that was their main goal. But it actually led to defocus them, lose focus from their own product, their own, the quality of their product. And one thing noticeable here is that whenever the new users went to Quirky, they were confused that what this startup is doing, what this company is doing. The reason was that the very small products were shown on their web page, which confused the people, like from um, Bluetooth speakers to nail cutters to something like a very short, very small product. So people were confused that what is actually happening here. So we have to always get clarity on the target market. We have to focus on our own idea, and we have to define the KPIs for the progress that can gauge the success of our startup. Another reason that we'll discuss today for the failure is limited technical expertise. And this covers lots of things. So by technical expertise, it does not only mean that you have the technical expertise to develop your product, or you have the technical expertise to uh, create product code, design, or something. It covers lots of different areas, like the idea that you're working on, your the use of the product that you're working on, and lots of different things. So these technical skills involved in execution, in development, in planning, in product design. So you have to cover those. Uh, there is another startup that we'll discuss is Yumi. Uh, it has raised a significant amount of funding, like $446 million, uh, and they have failed in the first 5 years. So $446 million is a huge number if we compare it to the a regular fund that startups receive. So what has led to their failure was that uh, when this startup it basically uh, an idea where their robots helped related to the pizza baking. So at the in one of the areas where what they faced was their robots could not handle the sliding cheese. So this was a technical challenge which they could not solve, and they have tried to solve on their own. And what happened that eventually this one problem, they were confident that they would be able to solve that, but they could not do that. And considering this, taking this into account, this startup actually started losing the customer, and it failed because it could not reach to their end goals. It could not execute 100% what they wanted to achieve. So this tells that there are lots of technical consideration that we need to look into whenever we are working on a startup. So, uh, how we can bridge the gap of limited technical expertise. The first thing is that we should have a right team for that. And by right team, the people who have the required technical skills, the people who can run the business, the people who can innovate, the people who can help us in executing our ideas, in developing whatever we are trying to develop. So if you have to find out those people. You can hire them directly. You can compose a part-time team with the consultants if they're budget constrained. And you have to devise a strategy that how you would attract the most technical or the most competent talent. The another thing that you could do to solve this problem is you have to outsource your risks. By outsourcing your risks, I mean that you have to look for the technical consultant or the technical partner. The technology partner can help you solve your technical issues. Even they can help you creating the product for you from end to end, like from the idea to the practical outcome. So how this would help you is the number one thing is that when you outsource your technical challenges to the technology partner, they take your all of your risks, they commit something, and they have their expertise in the past, uh, and they have developed so many things in the past related to the idea that you have, or at least you can discuss that if they have the similar expertise or not. So your technology partner will take care of the technical needs, and you will not shift your focus from the product and the business to the technical constraints. So they will take care of the technical constraints, and as a startup founder you will be able to focus more on the challenges that your startup has, and you can focus on the market research, you can focus on the business, and meanwhile in parallel your technology partner would be working or building the product for you. So this can be another approach which can save you from the failure. So the next risk is security and data confidentiality. Although the security and data confidentiality is not the very first thing that startup founders think of, but uh, there is a huge rate of failure due to the security, data confidentiality. As soon as a startup gains customers' attention, the hackers or the people with malified intentions, they try to jeopardize their startup. They try to steal the data. They try because they know that the startup would have uh, a very less security measures taken to secure the data, to secure the confidentiality of the customers, and to secure their intellectual property. So this would lead to the reputation of the startup at risk. And if there are many examples that happened in the recent past, even the unicorns like Uber or uh, cab hailing apps like Kareem, they have been victim of the security and data breaches. So this is one of the areas which the startups totally ignore. I mean, a large number of startups, if we do the survey, if we do the research, the large number of startups do not consider the security or data confidentiality as a major risk. But actually, whenever the bad actors or the hackers try to steal the information, it jeopardizes their reputation, customer trust, loyalty, and they immediately face the financial losses, and their customers try to ditch them. So another aspect is that if you have signed, if you're operating in a country where there is a law that you can have penalties or fine. This is also a major risk that you have to share your revenue, a large part of your revenue, in fines uh, and penalties. So, as a startup founder, this is one of the areas where you have to look into so that we can be more successful. So, what are the benefits of the maintaining the data confidentiality and the data security? So that the first thing is that it ensures the uh, regulatory compliance, and it safeguards our intellectual property, and it maintains data security, and hence we can uh, our customers can trust us more. The other thing that we can do to maintain the data security is we have to follow the security principles, the security policies, and security standards. Another thing that we can do is conduct regular research, data privacy reviews, training sessions where we can train our team, our execution team, our development team, and even we can train our audience, and we can train our stakeholders as well. The next thing that we can do is we can be transparent about the actions that we are taking in the privacy measures that we are taking, so that everyone can be aware that what we are doing, and they have confidence in the startup. So, so one thing which I would like to relate here is the startup can also pursue some of the certifications, which are cybersecurity certifications or compliances like ISO 27001 or SOC. So there is also a benefit that if you are looking for a technology partner and they are certified, then this would be a win-win for both of you. So another risk is intellectual property protection. So this is one of the most overlooked areas. So as a startup founder, as an idea creator, as an idea owner, you must know the IP rights, and you must know that how you are and why you are filing. So it can be divided into four main categories. So you can have copyrights, trade secrets, patents, and trademarks. And this is actually a costly investment. It is time consuming, and we have the complexity of filing the patents. Uh, and there are times when you have to file multiple times. There are also legal challenges. You have to defend the patents from the rivals. You have to make sure that this idea has not been patented before. So these are some of the things that if you're working on a very, very unique idea, then you must uh, have to consider the intellectual property. So another thing is regulatory compliance. We've just discussed this in the security and data confidentiality section, that there are lots of regulatory framework. For example, if you're building the healthcare applications, you might have to comply with HIPAA. If there are you are operating in the European region, maybe you have to comply with the GDPR. So you must be aware of all of these regulations which are related to the idea that you're working on and which are related to the region that you're working on. So by implementing, you can say it comes with a cost. Uh, it is basically resource constraint. There are complex regulation. You have to go to the consultant. Sometimes you have to go through lots of documentation. You have to go through all of those. Uh, so and then another thing is that the operations, when you implement these compliances, the global operation complexity increases. And the challenge, one of the challenges also that the startup owners have limited funds or the people who are trained to comply with these regulations. So this is one of the areas where we need to look into. Uh, Another thing, which is that how we can, what are the strategies we can use to maintain uh, our IP protection and compliance, is identifying and understanding the IP types and the industry specific areas related to your startup. So if you're, as I mentioned, that if you're working in a health sector, you must be aware about HIPAA. You must know how we can implement HIPAA. Who are the consultants you need to reach out to? What are the technical aspects of the compliance? For example, in HIPAA, you have to take care of the product itself. You have to make sure that you are not storing any personal data of the patients. You're not misusing any of the patient's data or things like that. You can consult a legal advisor. They can also help you in this regard. You can register with different forums. You can reach out to the regulatory compliances bodies, and this would actually help you to understand the risks which you can face later on. You can also use the non-disclosure agreements uh, and such practices with your stakeholders, with the people you're working on, with your team, and that this would also minimize the risk of you can say data breach and the complexities related to the compliances. So when by going through the risks, then there is another stage where every startup owners wishes that their startup secures the fund at initial stage, and then when they have secured the funding or they have enough funds, they think that their idea is the one that the public or the people would accept. So they then think to scale up their startup. But the stats shows that uh, the only 10% of the startups have the potential to scale up or have the potential to maximize the chances of whatever they are trying to achieve. Uh, that is why, uh, as I shared the number, that there are more than 100,000 startups that are born daily, but you only see few startups which are unicorns. And the reason is that they have to go through all of the steps, all of the phases, which basically you can, um, in order to succeed. So the startup, um, the scale ups need to look into the infrastructure scalability, talent acquisition, market expansion, and the customer retention. Uh, and they can basically focus on the key areas. As I mentioned, that they need to look into what they are building, they need to allocate proper resources, they need strategic partnerships with different entities, and with this they can actually uh, uh, succeed. With the management, they need agile management, so that they can quickly adopt the changes. They can quickly respond to the customers, whatever they are requiring. If there is a change in product, they should immediately or do that. They should invest right in the scalable technology, invest in the training and upskilling the existing employees. So with this, the startups can minimize all of the risk, all of these risks, if they find a right technology partner. And the right technology partner can help in the strategic planning, the product development, innovation constraints, by mitigating the budget risks or limitations. They can help with the scalability and growth. They can um, help them with the risks, and they can help them with the specialized skills by developing an idea or working on a skills, working on an idea which requires special skills and restricted market presence. So whenever you have to find the right technology partner, you have to consider the following parameters, like their expertise, innovations, their experience, their cost-effective solutions, and their collaboration flexibility. So one of the success stories is Slack. Slack actually had collaborated with a technology partner to evolve their MVP, and the result is there that they are one of the successful unicorns that we have, and current valuation is $27 billion. So that's end the webinar today, and I'd like to just give you a brief overview of Bitsol Technologies. We've been working with many startups, and we've supported more than 100 successful startups, and they've captured the market. Uh, it's been more than 8 years that we are in the business, and there are many areas that we have been working on, like healthcare, education, social, real estate, artificial intelligence, and with lots of government organization as well. So if you have any questions, you're most welcome to ask. All right. So thank you so much, guys, for joining. You can reach out to us if you have any of the questions related to your startup or related to your ideas. We'll be happy to help you. You can reach out to our website or the email that is given below. So um, thank you so much for today. Bye bye.